Okay, good morning, Clay. We'll turn it over to you for some opening comments.
All righty. Good morning, everybody. To start off with, before we get into our football team, congratulations to Elijah Barrett Tucker. So happy for him and his family to have a chance to talk with him last night and his family last night to see the joy. What a great story and what a great Trojan. Appreciate everything he's accomplished here, everything he's done for us. We've got 6 other draft eligible players that we're looking forward to seeing where they land on NFL teams coming up over the next couple of days. But some really good Trojans getting ready to make their next step and play on Sundays. And we look forward to seeing where they land and wish them all the best of luck and thank them for what they've done here. It's been a great 13 weeks. It really has. And I thank our players. I thank our coaching staff. I thank this university, especially our medical staff, for helping us, guide us through 8 weeks of strength and conditioning program, 5 weeks of training camp, doing daily testing every day and being right there along our side. It's really been a commitment by a lot of folks to propel our team forward over the last 13-week cycle, this spring cycle. And we've got a lot accomplished. We've learned a lot, but we've also accomplished a lot in my mind. And the first one is as far as learning, really coming out of this camp, have learned that there's several young big men that are going to help us contribute next year in some role fashion. I think about the young defensive linemen with Jamar Sakona and Stanley and Jay Toya and some guys that are coming back like Jake Lichtenstein, and what they're going to be able to allow to do for us, even Dejon Benton moving forward and doing a nice job this spring. Offensive line-wise, to see Jonah Mannheim and a Cortland Ford progress, a Justin Dietich progress, a Casey Collier really come on. There's going to be several. We've become deeper at that big man position and really have enjoyed watching them grow. The next thing learned was, to see our running back room and the depth and talent that's going to be in there for the 2021 season. It's a bunch of veterans in that room this year, and to see them work and to see what they can bring to the table has actually done a little bit with personnel groupings, which I'll talk about here in just a second. But, there is depth and talent in that room and is going to help us for next year. The last thing we probably learned, which was neat to see, is we made a commitment to, kind of move Drake London outside, and see his versatility. And what we found out is he's just as good outside as he is inside, which I think is going to make him an even bigger weapon to be able to move him around where people can't find exactly where he's at. It was great to see him with his big play capability over and over and over and over again in camp. What we got done in this training camp, I thought we really progressed 2 young quarterbacks. Obviously, I'm thanking God we still got 25 more practices, but to be able to watch these 15 practices and watch them grow, watch them go through some growing pains, be coachable and learn from mistakes is great to see. I thought the young DBs that we brought in, especially at the safety position, this camp has really helped them. It's progressed to Chase Williams a ton into a dynamic leader. We all know Isaiah Polamalu, but to be able to get a Xavion and a Zamarian, and Anthony Beavers and a Kalen Bullock, to really have 15 practices with them and grow them, I thought was exceptional. We got to introduce some new schemes and some new personnel groupings, like I talked about, because of the backs and what they're bringing to the table. And we introduced some new schemes that I think offensively and defensively that are going to help us for next year. And then the really neat thing that I see, just being a head coach and being able to step back, it was really neat to be able to have the opportunity for T.O. and Dante Williams and Craig Niver and Vic Soto kind of blend their personality and give their personality to the defense. They didn't get that last year with a spring and an abbreviated fall camp, but to really that tough, edgy, aggressive, always attacking mindset has really rubbed off on our defense. So it's been a great 13 weeks. Where do we go from here? This is our last practice today. We look forward to seeing y'all this afternoon. And then the next 2 weeks, obviously, we start finals over the next 2 weeks. We'll have a discretionary period the last 2 weeks of May, and then our summer access begins June 1st, and we start a new 8-week cycle with our players leading up to training camp. So a lot has been accomplished, been a lot of fun. To be honest with you, be around this group. There's a great vibe around our team right now. It's fun to be around them and to see how much they like each other and how much they like competing against each other. It's been a great spring. So with that, I'll take any questions that you got.
Okay, thank you, Clay. Let's start with Ryan Young.
Good morning, Clay.
Morning, Ryan.
So going back to the young quarterbacks, with what you've seen so far, and obviously you already mentioned that you have more practice time in August to evaluate, but how would you assess where things stand with that number 2 quarterback job?
It stands as both of them are progressing, and thank goodness for 40 practices. We're 15 in. We'll do 25 more practices, and the best player in the moment will end up taking that spot. But like I told them, and I told y'all guys early in this camp, I don't want them looking over their shoulder and saying, where am I right now? Or how many reps did I get today? I ran with the 1s today, or the 2s today, or the 3s today. Let's just progress. Let's dive into this system. Let's get comfortable in this system. Let's make the mistakes and learn from them. And we've done that for 14 practices today, 15. And I love how both quarterbacks have really showed their strengths and really grown in some areas of growth that they needed to. For Jackson, you can see his creativity. You can see his deep ball accuracy, his ability to create on the move. And in Miller's case, man, it's just been precision about going and being able to make his reads, going through progression, delivering accurate balls time after time, getting the ball out. Have they made mistakes? Yes. And they're young quarterbacks that should still be at high school, be in prom right now. But it's for both these 2 kids, I thought they took the right approach. Is every time that I go out there, I'm not competing against the other guy. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. If I'm competing against anybody, I'm trying to live up to the standard of where Keaton's at and trying to be the best quarterback on this football team. And I thought they took that approach this spring. And that's the same mindset I wanted to take early in camp as we start evaluating and competing and getting towards that 40th practice. And then that Friday, I'll let you know who's the best player in the moment.
Good deal. And then a few injury updates. Liam Jimmons, and then we didn't see Brew McCoy out there on Tuesday, and Drake Jackson's missed a few practices.
Yeah, Liam Jimmons in our last scrimmage suffered a little bit of a high ankle that's limited him. Brew aggravated a little bit of a hamstring. And then we've just been really cautious with Drake. I know it was reported the car accident that a couple of our kids were in, just making sure he's gone through concussion protocol and just we're being ultra safe there.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Antonio.
Clay, along those lines, can you update us on Josh Jackson and Michael Jackson?
Yeah, Michael, as we know, we've put the ball down as the maximum number of times that you can in tackling situations in this camp. It's been a very physical camp, and Michael was one of those that was just as big bodies fell, he got a big body that fell on his ankle, but he's doing fine. He's got a little high ankle sprain. If he was a big man, he probably would be back now, but he's a wide out that has to put his foot in the ground, and it's just a different position. I wish we had another week at camp. He'd probably be close to being back next week. But right now he's going through that. And who was the other one, Antonio, you said?
Josh Jackson.
Yeah. Josh had just illness, nothing dealing with COVID, but just wasn't feeling good. And he was actually back with us yesterday, to be honest with you.
For sure. And what did you feel like you learned about some of your newcomers, the 14 guys who enrolled early this spring?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Antonio. I really liked their sense of urgency to be great. They didn't take the approach, oh, I'm in college now. Let me enjoy college. Let me enjoy all the things that come with college, the independence. They dove right in. They dove in to the workouts. We acclimated them to the older guys extremely quickly in the spring and got them with our older veterans right off the bat. And they jumped right in, learned from them, were humble, were respectful, and they were hungry. And they had a sense of urgency to really learn and put themselves in a position to contribute next year. I think it's been an unbelievable 13 weeks for those kids, and it really put themselves in a great position to help us next year. Now it's our challenge as coaches. You got 13 more coming June 1st, and the opportunity to really grow that crew over an 8-week cycle over the summer, where we are allowed to do strength and conditioning with those guys. We are allowed to have position meetings with them and grow. And obviously we'll have some of our player run practices over the summer, which will allow them to advance. Our goal is to have those 27 kids where, when they come in to fall camp, they're not learning, they're competing, and so that's our challenge. We're way ahead with the 14. The next 13 that walk in here, we have to have a sense of urgency as a coaching staff to really advance them, especially in the month of June.
Okay, Ryan Karchi.
Hey, Clay, I know you mentioned being impressed with what you've seen from the offensive line, especially the young linemen, but it seemed like you went with a similar group of 5 to start spring, and then I know you shuffled it up these last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you are closer at this point to knowing who that starting 5 is, or do you plan to come into the fall with that being completely wide open?
Yeah, it's everybody's going to have to earn a job, because we're going to play the best kids that are in the moment, and to be able to see a Cortland Ford really progress, a Justin Dietich really progress, a Casey Collier and Jonah Monheim, who's had Jonah may have the best camp of anybody on our football team. To see those young linemen. We'll be in a great situation coming into fall camp, because those kids are going to compete, and they understand, there's injuries that happen. There's competitions that happen. And you've got 25 practices over a 4-week period of time to really build your resume and say, why should you be the starter in that opening game? And we're going to give those kids the opportunity. We're truly blessed to have some veterans that are in there too. I think about a Jalen McKenzie, and I think about a Liam Jimmons, who's had a good camp up until the ankle injury, a Brett Nealon and an Andrew Voorhees. So that mixture of veteran leadership and guys that have played a lot of ball combined with this young, youthful talent that is really influxed in here and come on with us, gosh almighty, it makes for a great setup. Not only for the present, but for the future. And our kids understand that it's about competing, and the best player goes out there and plays. Doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter your age. It's who's the best in the moment. And that could be by your performance, it could be by injury. That's why we wait all the way up until that last Friday to produce it 2 deep, because you just don't know where you're going to be until that time.
Do you feel like that shuffling this last couple of weeks has kind of opened your eyes to maybe some potential different combinations?
Oh, definitely, without question. It's all about trying to find, find the best 5, and then where the best 5 fit. And what a great example. Elijah Vera Tucker. He goes from a left guard, in his 3rd year, and he's sitting right beside Austin Jackson, and that was the best lineup for us at that time. And then what was it last year? Well, Elijah just happened to be the best lineman on the football team and the best left tackle on the football team at that time, while we had some very young players that were true freshmen that didn't have any camp. We had signed 5 freshmen, but they didn't get a spring. They didn't get spring winter conditioning. They didn't get a training camp. They got abbreviated fall, and they were thrust. They just weren't ready at that point in time. So to be able to have Elijah go out there with a mixture of Andrew Voorhees, Brett Nealon, Liam Jimmons that came on, a Jalen McKenzie, those were guys that really did a tremendous job for us. But I think Elijah was the greatest example. Is it's where you fit best in the moment for our football team, and that's why when you see us recruit, you see all those kids that I mentioned, other than Brett and Justin Dedich. What did they play in high school? They all were tackles in high school. Every one of them were tackles. We signed tackle athletic bodies that then can come in and be able to move around. So it's been a great camp to, just like you say, Ryan, to identify that, yes, these young kids are ready to compete and ready to contribute.
Okay, let's go to Adam Grossbard.
Clay, after getting a feel for the roster during spring, are there any position groups that you feel like you might need to supplement, whether depth wise or just looking for, someone else to help out in the transfer portal?
Right now we've got a couple spots left. We do have a couple spots left. One of the things I'm looking forward to, just positionally, to provide some depth with that we already have. We've already signed. I'm looking forward to get a Sierra Wright here and a Prophet Brown here and a Jalen Smith here, and really bolster the defensive backcourt, especially at the corner position and nickel position. Having Greg coming off of surgery, unfortunately losing Max, that had us shuffle around where Isaiah Polamalu had to come down and Bam had to come down and play that nickel position. To have 3 additional DBs that are coming to us over the summer with Sierra, Prophet, and Jalen. I'm looking forward to that. I really am. So that additional help at the corner and nickel position is something that we look forward to.
Isaiah seemed very disruptive, especially in pass rush situations out of the nickel position. Could you see him being a long-term fit at that position?
Well, again, the beauty of TO's defense is you have this kind of 3-spoke system between the kind of the boundary safety, the field safety, and the nickel. And as you saw last year, they can rotate anywhere to be a flat zone player, a post player, a box player. You have to be able to do that at all 3 positions. And Isaiah, and you saw it with Talanoa, really did a tremendous job of that. When they had to be in the post, they did a great job. When they had to be in the box, they did a great job. When they had to be out in space, and I thought that's where Talanoa thrived. It's been neat to see Isaiah thrive, out in space and coming off the edge and pressuring and doing those things. So yes, he's a definite candidate. It's going to be neat to have these 25 extra practices to watch the young safeties come along, as well as and I'll say this, and I said this, I think maybe a meeting ago, Chase Williams has had, he's one of those candidates for, having one of the best camps. He has been so consistent and really has upped his physicality as a guy that comes in the box and making big plays. I know you saw last Saturday when we were scrimmaging, he met Keontae Ingram in the hole one-on-one on the goal line. And that's not an easy task when you got a 227-pound man. But I mean, he came in with no hesitation, tremendous physicality, and stops him just short of the goal line in a one-on-one tackle situation, which really opened my eyes. I was like, wow. I know Chase for his athleticism. What I loved this spring was his physicality that he brought, kind of like Talanoa brought that. So I think we got some good candidates in that 3-spoke system. I look forward to getting these young players continued progression, as well as these new players in, to find our best setup between those 3. But it's neat to see Isaiah in a pinch he could play them all. He could be boundary safety, field safety, nickel. He has every skill set you want. You'd like to clone him and have 2 more of them, and you'd be perfect.
Okay, let's go to Eric McKinney.
Clay, what's been your takeaway from the inside linebacker position this spring and the guys going there?
Yeah, you can see the consistency and kind of the veteran experience now that a Kanai and Raylan have. I thought they played extremely consistent this spring. It's been fun watching them. I think they've established themselves as 2 of the leaders of our defense. But it's also been fun to watch some guys continue to grow at the position. Raymond Scott even improved from last fall when he was thrust in there because of numbers and did a nice job for us. He's grown at the position. It's been neat to see Julian Simon, who's been coached probably harder maybe than anybody on our team by T.O. There has been some tough love moments, but it's really allowed him to grow. And he's takes coaching. So, I look forward, you got a Rajon Davis that's getting ready to come on with us also, which will bolster that group too. But it's been a good spring for that. Obviously a TO led bunch is going to be one of the leaders of your defense. And I think Raylan Kanai and that group have really been solid and done a nice job this spring.
And I know scholarship numbers are always kind of that inexact science of how many you have in any year, but with the extra year of eligibility, with the one-time transfer thing, what kind of challenges is that going to present, and what sort of plan has to be in place for knowing, how many kids you can go after in any class?
Yeah, one of the things that I think we'll always have here, and you saw it this year, is because of the nature of the talent that we have on our team, you're going to have NFL attrition. You're also, I think everybody, you've seen it all around the country. You're going to have some transfer attrition. So the numbers will equal out. We're in a great spot right now for the 21 season. We're looking, forward to signing a great 22 class. But I think Spencer Harris and our personnel department, as well as our just management of our numbers, as well as the guys we brought in from both freshmen, as well as some talented, taking some talented free agents out of that transfer portal that are going to help us. I think of a Katie Nixon, 103 catches in his career, Keontae Ingram, a 2,000 yard rusher, a talented Xavier Alford that's coming into play for us. I can't wait to watch Big Ish. He's starting to walk around here, prance around here, and you're like, God Almighty, I can't wait to get you on the field. But I think we've done a nice job of combining very talented youth with a couple veteran leaders that can really make a difference for us. I think that one-time transfer portal has kind of created almost like an NFL free agent market. I think about when a couple of years ago, you remember Les Snead making the great moves to get Adamik Sue and Marcus Peters and Talib that 1 year. And what did it transfer to? It transferred to from a playoff team that now they were in the Super Bowl. And those are kind of some of the things that you can do as a head coach in a university, is be able to say, hey, here's all this young talent we signed. Now maybe there are some deficiencies because of NFL, maybe because of NFL attrition, maybe because of injury, maybe because of transfer. Where can you help yourself, in 3-4 positions? So I think that is going to be consistent, I think, with everybody across the country, that when those opportunities arise and you can help yourself with a talented player, you're probably going to take that opportunity.
Okay, I know we have a lot of hands raised, but we only have time for one more. Let's go to Keely.
Hey, Clay, I was just wondering, how would you evaluate the spring camp that Keaton Slovis has had, and is he where you expected him to be at this point in camp?
Yeah, Keely, what I've been really impressed with Keaton is, and I said this the other day, and it happened again Thursday, to be honest with you, is just his situational mastery. What he's been able to show in a 2-minute situation, a 4-minute situation, the decisions that he made. We were in a tight red zone situation yesterday that we put the guys in, and him not forcing the issue on a second or third down, knowing he's going to get a fourth. He's just progressing, I really think, in his decision making and putting himself in those situations and executing them right. And then, I remember this with Sam, that I thought he did a good job, and Keaton's doing this right now. Sam was the best I'd ever been around about one-on-one relationships. He was an extremely vocal guy to a huge bunch, but gosh almighty, he could do an unbelievable job of walking up to Juju Smith-Schuster and be able to have that conversation and say, hey, this is what I need. And I'm starting to see that from Keaton. He's having those conversations about as soon as a series is done, he's walking up to a young kid like a Michael Jackson, say, hey, come here, let's get on the same page here. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. And so I'm starting to what those conversations as a young person didn't happen too much. He was just trying to do his job, but now he's helping others, and that leadership and that growth has really helped our football team this spring. And so I think he's got total awareness of the system now. He knows exactly what Graham wants. He's making better decisions in special situational mastery, and I've loved his leadership. Especially, it doesn't have to be the boisterous voice that you hear every day. It's just those one-on-one conversations that he's doing a really nice job with our team. So I hope that answered your question, Keith.
And then injury-wise, do you anticipate anyone having an injury that will bleed into fall camp?
We had a couple major injuries, unfortunately, and it's the nature of football. You go through a 5-week physical camp. There's going to be a couple that come out. Obviously, Mo Hassan had a very successful ACL surgery on just a freak, on air cut that led to a knee injury. You have Brandon Peely, that had an ACL surgery, and a Max Williams that had to have. Max Williams who had ACL. So, those three are the ones that stand out to me. I don't see any others at this point. Some of them pulled us out for this camp, but I expect everybody to be back come June to go through that 8-week cycle and be ready for fall camp. But those were the three in this camp that got us.
Okay, Clay, thank you very much for joining us today and for doing it all spring long. And media, thank you guys for being with us all spring. Reminder that we do have our final practice this afternoon open for media viewing. We will let media in at 3:25, so be there on time there. And just 2 dates for your calendar. These are still very tentative, but just for your planning, Pac-12 Football Media Day is being looked at the last week of July in Los Angeles. When we get more details, we'll let you know. And very tentative start of camp for USC would be August 6th. So just for your planning, you can get your calendars going that way. So with that, Clay and media, thank you for being here, and have a great day.
Thank you for covering us this spring, guys. Good luck. Take care.